one's recording. This one's recording. This one's recording.
Nope, it gave you a pop-up.
Okay. Seriously?
We may not be able to do this on Facebook tonight. Facebook is having some issues.
I don't know why.
Everybody in the world's trying to live stream right now, and
Probably.
Facebook is just not working.
I am going to reload, I guess.
Okay. Wait on Facebook.
So, Twitter's going and
Twitter's
Instagram's going.
Alright, 2 out of 3.
So,
Just waiting on Facebook. And then we get to start drinking. Alright.
okay. Facebook's just not
Facebook is unhappy.
letting me.
Not clear why. It's just not
So,
working.
give me a second.
Yep. So we're just gonna chill. Listen to your ice machine. Yeah, Facebook is not working.
Not at all.
Facebook is just not letting us do it.
It's literally giving me an error message every time I try. So let's...
Yep. Larry's now on the complex setup screens trying to figure out Facebook's.
We're going with a different... what they've been trying to force on me for the last couple weeks.
Okay.
Well,
And it looks like Facebook might be working. Still a partial loading screen. It's also flashing at me, which is weird. Hey, I got this is live.
okay.
Chat's on the wrong side. Okay. Whatever. It's Facebook. Hey.
Sorry, everybody who's been here for a
Yes.
minute while I did some troubleshooting.
Facebook.
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds,
All right.
and I'm probably gonna have to turn the sound down on something I'm doing right now.
So we're just waiting on the watch party. Everything else seems
Okay, I
okay?
think we're good.
Hey, okay. So now we can get started.
Yep.
So, hey everybody. Welcome back to day 23 of Crazy Cabin Fever Cocktails. I'm Tim Little with Distilled Living. It is Virtual Derby Week. Getting ready for the Virtual Derby, which is an interesting first. And obviously with the Brown-Forman Woodford Reserve Old Forester connection to Churchill Downs and the Derby, they've released a bunch of cocktails in advance of all the content, video content that they're going to be doing on Saturday. And as we were looking over those, and Hillary pointed out, the cocktail recipes are very simplified, and they really look like they were written by a bartender for a bartender and maybe got repurposed. So I was going to talk through two of the whiskey ones, and help you kind of understand these and make some good cocktails for yourself at home. So the first one we're going to start with is the Woodford Reserve Horse's Neck. Now this cocktail is all about the garnish. That's where it gets its name. It's going to take a lemon, and I had to dig out this little thing, this Channel Life. I haven't even ever used this one. This was deep in my bartending kit because this is not a type of garnish I go for very often. And the idea with the horse's neck is the glass is supposed to look like a horse's neck. That's the ultimate goal. The way you do that is by taking your lemon and you want to get one long curly peel. So you just start in with your channel knife, and channel knife lets you get in a little bit deeper than a peeler, but you could do this with a peeler as well. It's just not going to quite give you the same look. So I am going to start my peel. So I'm getting that. That's actually coming out pretty well. This is not the world's best channel knife. In fact, this is not a very good channel knife at all. So it's taken me a little bit of effort to get this working. And then ideally you would go the entire lemon, but this is hard because this is a dull knife. This came with a shaker or some other kit that I bought, and I didn't really care about this particular knife, which is why it's lived at the bottom of my bartending kit for years. Alright, now I'm starting to get a little bit of a groove. Okay, I wound up breaking it, which I knew was going to happen at some point. I only got through about a third of the lemon peel, but that's okay because I'm still going to be able to make this work. So this is a sparkling cocktail. So it's going to go into your glass, and ideally you'd have a curl all the way up and over the top, and actually coming out the top. Now the way you get this is by putting the ice down into your glass and getting the curl to go around the ice and then over the side. That's not bad. It should be looped a little bit more than that, but you're getting the general idea of it there. Okay, so I've made that work. So now I'm going to go ahead and build my cocktail. So the way the instructions are read, because they're kind of vague, because I think they assume that you know what you're doing with this cocktail, is they tell you to fill it with the ice, put everything in there, somehow get the lemon in there. Really, really hard to do. So that's why we're doing it in this order. Alright, so Woodford Reserve, Sassafras and Sorghum Bitters. It says to use 1 dash. I have an older bottle. I don't know if the newer bottles have still have the dropper, but this is going to be about half a dropper full or so. It's going to get me to 1 dash. Now, I actually got a fresh bottle of Woodford Reserve for this. There we go. 2 ounces. This is a goodly cocktail. And actually, it smells really good just as a combination like that. Ale. It says to use ginger ale. I like to use ale because it's local and it's good. It's got a lot of good bite on it. And if you were building everything in this glass, somehow you get it all together and then you stir it, it's awkward. Doing it in here and stirring it means I'm going to lose part of that fizz. I'm personally okay with that. I don't need a super high fizz on this. And it's also going to give me a little bit of dilution, which is going to cut the sweetness down a little bit, which I personally prefer. So I'm just going to eyeball how much I think should go into the Collins glass. Give this a stir. Now I built it in a particular order, which is important. We've talked about this before. You always want to start with your bitters over the ice. This is called seasoning the ice. And the reason bartenders do that is if I put the larger liquids in first, they'd be sitting at the bottom, and if I put the bitters on top, then the bitters would float and it wouldn't really integrate, which would not be good. And it doesn't take much. I just need to get all those flavors to combine. And at this point, I am going to get up my julep strainer, strain this over it. See how my horse's neck garnish is staying in place really well there? I want to get that volume right there. You could do this with a straw. It's a sparkling, you could do it that way, but I just don't feel like it needs a straw. Just like that. You've already got your garnish in place, and it looks pretty cool.
And as always, we will have the recipes, and since this is a slightly adjusted recipe, we'll definitely still have this particular recipe on the website afterwards. Our variant
kind of building in that order so that you make that work. And then obviously if you want to do a mocktail version of that, we just, like we always recommend, Elmwood Inn's Kentucky blend to sub in for the Woodford Reserve, and you're going to get a really nice, it's going to be a fairly sweet tea mocktail, but I think it's going to be really good. Alright, so that was our first one. That's the horse's neck. So now we're going to work on a chrysanthemum. So this is a variant. This is the Old Forester Chrysanthemum Julep, which is bringing in mint that's not in the original recipe, not directly anyway. I'm going to do a little bit more of a variant on it. Is Facebook working okay? I'm seeing like myself jump all over the place.
It seems like it's fine.
I'm still going to Facebook. It's just like this weird like jumpy thing going on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm just moving on. So I have pre-chilled my coupe glass for this. And this recipe calls for Old Forester Mint Julep Premix. This is not Old Forester Mint Julep Premix. This is Old Forester Signature 100 proof, which I really, really like. I don't typically go in for the premixed kind of liqueur-ish, cocktail-ish hybrid things. So I'm just going to have to build effectively a little bit of a mint julep in this process as we're building out the chrysanthemum. So I've got a little bit of mint that I had left here. I got 2 pieces actually because I didn't quite have enough mint off of one sprig to get the flavor that I wanted. So I'm going to save this one, I think, for the garnish. I'm going to take the 2 lower leaves off of it. I'm going to take all the leaves off this other one. So I've got quite a bit. And if you remember from my mint julep videos, I like to press the mint into the julep cup to infuse the flavor and the aroma there. I am not doing that here because I am doing this because I only have one cocktail stirrer. If I had or cocktail stirring glass, if I had another one of these, I would be using that. I don't. You probably don't have one at home either, so we're going to use a mason jar for this. And this is a ball jar. Mason's a brand name, I know. I really am trying to express out all the oils in a way that is going to infuse. Now, if you remember from the, it hasn't gone up yet, except as a preview.
Which?
There's a different way of handling mint when you're shaking. Look for our video that we're doing as a promotion fundraiser for the Ronald McDonald House coming out this weekend as well. We'll show you a different technique.
It's technically on your website right now.
You can go
that way you can get your ingredients before virtual derby.
Yes. But we show you a different technique for that. So I am really trying to get a lot of it. I'm trying to get it pretty far down in there where it's going to get extracted. And then I'm going to fill this up with ice and start building my drink here. So obviously if this was a premixed cocktail in a glass, it would have its sugar, or in a bottle, it'd have its sugar already in there. So I'm going to use a 1/4 ounce of simple. And I'm going to use 3/4 of an ounce of Old Forester Signature. Now this is a boozy cocktail. I know at this point I'm only using 1/3 of an ounce, but there's many more alcohols coming. It's also why there's no mocktail version of this. That would be really, really hard. It's doable, but that'd be hard. Okay, so that's got me 1 ounce of mint julep mix, effectively. So now I'm going to use 1/2 ounce of chartreuse. The original chrysanthemum calls for Benedictine. This is in the same category as a French herb liqueur. This is going to be the closest one, and this I had in the house. There's no substitute. Like if you don't have any sort of French herb liqueur, if you don't have a green or yellow chartreuse or Benedictine, there's really not any way around it. It's a really, really distinctive herb, spicy kind of flavor profile. And I'm doing 1/2 ounce of that. And then my dry vermouth, stored in the refrigerator, as vermouth should be, 1 full ounce of this. So I'm at going on 2.5 ounces of booze there. So now I'm going to stir this. A little loud, that's all right. We're working with vermouth, right? And as we talked about with the Manhattans, vermouth takes time to integrate. So does that chartreuse there. So nothing helping this but taking a long, slow stir. Now ideally this would have been shorter because I'm not going to get quite the nice flavor that I want. So, because I got the mint oil, I know I have the mint oil further up the glass, so I'm going to roll it around and get that mint oil off of there. I don't want the mint leaves in this when I'm stirring because I'm going to destroy them. and I'm going to just get particulate all over the place, and I'm going to get the bitter tannins, and it's not going to make the kind of silky cocktail that I want to get out of this. Now the original Chrysanthemum has absinthe in this, if I can say it right. And I thought Old Forester actually did a really clever job of changing that up in the way that they're making it work with this julep style. So I've chilled my glass there. I'm going to strain my cocktail here into my chilled glass. It's just like an interesting color to it. It's not a color we see in a lot of cocktails.
So in this instance, this is less julep and just simply chrysanthemum, because I don't think we're going to fit the amount of ice in there that they had anticipated.
This is not even supposed to be... No, this actually does not have ice in the final cocktail.
So their promo video showed a bunch of ice.
Or I totally misread it, because that's entirely possible as well. But
they may have messed up their own promo image.
It's very possible. I slap my mint first, get those flavors out of there, and now I took my absinthe using the Copper and Kings Kentucky absinthe here. They say to mist with a little spritzer. I don't have a spritzer for absinthe. I don't have any spritzers. If I did have a spritzer, I'm not going to use it for absinthe. I guess if I was making a lot of Sazeracs I would, but that's kind of weird. So I'm just going to dip the tops of my mint leaves into the little bowl of absinthe. And then I want to layer this, try to twist it, there we go. I got one leaf down in there, and that is making it work. And there we go. That is my version of the Old Forester Chrysanthemum Julep for Virtual Derby. Cheers.
And as always, we will have the recipes online and the high resolution video online a little bit later. And we'll be back again next Wednesday at 9 again. Yes?
Yes.
Do we have any idea what we're going to make?
We have some ideas. We'll be getting into summer. We'll change it up. Hopefully we'll be getting into summer. And we've got some ideas around some things for that. But if you have any suggestions, you've got stuff in your cabinet that you want us to try to work with, please let us know.
I think we have some blueberry stuff and some banana stuff that might be incorporated in the next cocktail.
Yeah, we might see Woodford Reserve again.
So,
just saying.
Hope you all enjoyed.
Yeah.
And yes, actually, somebody asked, is there a Kentucky absinthe? Yes, there is.
Yes.
We'll do it like after show now.
Absinthe. Yes. Oh, we should do an after show. Yes, this stuff is awesome, actually. They did a really, really good job with this. Copper and Kings does a lot of weird experimental stuff that some people like and some people hate, and it's just all over the place. I've loved a lot of their stuff. A lot of their stuff has not been to my flavor profile, but I actually really am very impressed with their absinthe. A lot of people think the absinthe is illegal because it has wormwood, which has a hallucinogen in it. There's just simply no truth to that background, that story. It's just wrong. And anyway, the federal government requires them to test for that hallucinogen and keeps it below a certain percentage. In order to get into hallucinogen territory off this stuff, you would have to drink so much of it you would die of alcohol poisoning 10 times over. So this is really just a beautiful flavor, very clean with that licorice kind of character. And it's an accent. You can drink this over ice, and some people do. It's really meant to be an accent against other things and other cocktails. That's primarily how it's used. Even in a Sazerac, it's an accent. So, a little bit of after show, a little bit of information on something a little less bourbon this time. But again, we'll see you next week, next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Absolutely.
And check online for the recipes later. Good night, everybody.